At this very moment, as my heavenly voice echoes in your ears, the entire universe suspends its movement so that you may receive a revelation that will change everything in your life. I am Saint Michael the Archangel, Supreme Commander of the armies of the Most High, and I have descended from the heavens today with a message that bears your name written in letters of divine fire. It was not by chance that your eyes found this video among thousands of options. It was no coincidence that your heart was moved to click here at this specific moment. This is your heavenly confirmation, your sacred calling, proof that the forces of good are mobilized in your favor, but it also brings a warning that cannot be ignored. Take a deep breath and prepare your spirit, because what you are about to hear will reveal a silent conspiracy that has poisoned your peace, sabotaged your dreams, and diverted your blessings for too long. There is a shadow walking beside you, disguised as light, a presence that approaches with calculated smiles but carries the most destructive envy in its heart. This person, whose name is marked by the letter S, has woven a web of manipulation so subtle that you have come to doubt your own intuition. You have felt it, haven't you? That inexplicable weight that settles in your chest after certain conversations. Those disturbing dreams that repeat themselves, showing familiar faces in scenarios of betrayal. That constant feeling of being watched by eyes that feign kindness but hide dark intentions. These are not figments of your imagination or the product of paranoia. They are sacred warnings, divine signs that your guardian angel has been sending you insistently to awaken your awareness of the danger that surrounds your life. The person marked with the initial S has studied your every move, cataloged your vulnerabilities, mapped your dreams to better know where to strike. They know your insecurities because you shared them with them in moments of trust. They know which words to use to plant doubts in your heart because they have silently observed your reactions. This shadow creature has learned the language of your soul only to use it against you. For a long time, you minimized the signs. When you felt that heavy energy after encounters with S, you attributed it to fatigue. When your projects started well but inexplicably became complicated after you shared them with this person, you thought it was bad luck. When you woke up feeling drained after conversations that seemed normal, you blamed stress. But I, Michael, come today to tear away the veil of illusion and show you the naked truth. S is not just a jealous person. She has become a channel for dark spiritual forces that feed on your light, drain your vital energy, and divert your opportunities. Each of her fake smiles is an open door for dark entities to enter your life. Each calculated hug is an energy transfer ritual where what is yours flows to her, while what is hers, bitterness, resentment, emptiness, settles in you. Today, with the authority that the Creator has given me, I cut these invisible chains. Today, I undo the energetic knots that kept you tied to this spiritual vampirism. As you listen to these words, feel a shower of golden light descend upon you, purifying every cell, every thought, every emotion that has been contaminated by the toxic presence of S. But this spiritual cleansing requires your active participation. It is not enough just to listen. You need to recognize, accept, and make a decision that will determine whether you will remain trapped or become free. The spiritual war that surrounds your life has begun, and every second of hesitation strengthens the enemy while weakening your defenses. Now write in the comments, "My energy is sacred, and no evil has power over me." This shows the universe that you recognize your value and no longer accept being affected by toxic energies. S's manipulation is not scandalous or obvious. She is an artist of dissimulation, a master at using your kindness against you. While in public, she extols your qualities and presents herself as your biggest supporter. In private, she sows poisonous seeds that slowly grow in your mind, creating gardens of insecurity where dreams once flourished. Observe how her method works. When you achieve something important, S is the first to congratulate you, but her words carry hidden barbs. "I'm glad it worked out. You deserve it after so many attempts." The phrase seems positive, but it plants the idea that you only achieve things with a lot of effort, that you are not naturally talented. Or when she says, "I'm happy for you. I hope this time it's permanent." Again, it appears to be supportive, but it instills doubt about the durability of your successes. This diabolical technique works because it directly targets your subconscious. You hear the conscious compliment, but absorb the subliminal criticism. Over time, your self-confidence is eroded from within, like a house attacked by termites. On the outside, everything looks normal, but the structure is being silently destroyed. S also uses what I call selective presence. She shows up when you're vulnerable, offering a friendly shoulder and attentive ears. But when you're beaming, celebrating achievements, she disappears or makes excuses not to share your joy. This is no coincidence, it's strategy. She feeds on your pain and is poisoned by your happiness. In conversations, S masters the art of asking questions that seem genuinely interested, but are actually fishing for information she will use against you later. How's your relationship going? Does not come from loving concern, but from the need to find loopholes to sow discord. What about your professional plans? Does not arise from friendly curiosity, but from the desire to know where to attack your dreams. When you share something intimate with S, she keeps every word as ammunition for future moments. If you confided your insecurities, she will remind you of them when you most need support. If you revealed your fears, she will feed them with seemingly innocent comments. If you told her about conflicts with other people, she will use that information to create more divisions in your life. S's toxicity also manifests itself in her inability to genuinely celebrate your victories. When something wonderful happens in your life, she can't completely hide the envy that eats away at her heart. You may notice a strange gleam in her eyes, a coldness in her embrace, a delay in responding to your messages of joy. It's as if each of your achievements is a personal defeat for her. And if this message has touched your heart in some way, if something here resonates with what you are feeling right now, I want to ask you for a gesture of affection. Click on "Thank you so much" to support this message. This is how we can continue to bring words of healing, revelation, and hope to those who most need to hear them. But what angers me most as a guardian of divine justice is seeing how S has stolen your peace through something I call subtle emotional terrorism. She never attacks directly. That would be too obvious. Instead, she creates an environment of constant tension around you. She makes ambiguous comments that leave you wondering if you understood her correctly. She tells stories of other people who have been through situations similar to yours, but with tragic endings. She plants seeds of paranoia, making you question the intentions of others in your life. Please don't subscribe to the channel just yet. I want you to first fully understand the extent of the manipulation you have been facing, so that when you make that choice, it is with full awareness of the value of this revelation you are receiving. There is much more to discover about S and how to completely free yourself from her toxic influence. Now, write in the comments, "I now activate my spiritual protection shield." This simple act strengthens your aura and prevents any energetic imbalance from affecting you. The web of destruction woven by S goes far beyond poisonous words and calculated gestures. She has learned to use other people as extensions of her manipulation, creating what I call the domino effect of toxicity. Like a spider at the center of her web, she moves invisible threads that cause others around her to question you, doubt your intentions, and gradually distance themselves without even understanding why. S has discovered that the most effective way to harm you is not by attacking you directly, but by contaminating your reputation through whispered conversations, half-truths told with an air of concern, and distorted interpretations of your actions. She presents herself to others as someone who cares about you, who wants what's best for you, but who is noticing some worrying changes in your behavior. Here's how this diabolical strategy works in practice. S goes to a mutual friend and says something like, "I don't know if you've noticed, but so-and-so has been acting a little strange lately. Yesterday she said something that got me thinking, is she okay?" The person who hears this is left with a seed of doubt planted in their mind. Even without knowing exactly what, they start to look at you differently, looking for signs that something is wrong. At another time, S comments to a family member, "She's been sharing some things with me that worry me. I can't give you any details because I promised to keep it confidential, but I think you should be aware." Again, without giving any concrete information, she creates an atmosphere of suspicion and concern around you. The most perverse thing about this tactic is that S never lies completely. She takes fragments of truth, real situations you have experienced or confidences you have shared, and presents them out of context with malicious interpretations. If you went through a difficult period and opened up to her, it becomes emotional instability. If you expressed frustration with a situation, it becomes aggressiveness. If you showed ambition or a desire to grow, it is painted as arrogance or a change in character. This silent destruction of your image happens so subtly that the people affected don't even realize they are being manipulated. They genuinely begin to worry about you, to view you with pity or suspicion, to distance themselves so as not to get involved in problems. And you, noticing these changes in behavior around you, begin to question yourself, to doubt yourself, to isolate yourself even more. S also uses a technique I call false intimacy. And she positions herself as your closest confidant, the person who really knows you, who knows what you're like inside. With this self-appointed authority, she feels entitled to interpret your feelings, explain your motivations to others, and even speak on your behalf in situations where you are not present. When someone questions something about you, S appears as your defender, but a defender who confirms that there is something wrong. Look, I know her very well, and I know she wouldn't do that out of malice. She's going through a difficult time, and sometimes she acts without thinking. But deep down, she's a good person. See how that works? She defends you by confirming that you have problems, that your actions are questionable, but that they deserve pity. Write in the comments, where light dwells, no shadow remains. This is your invisible shield against everything that has tried to stop you until today. What makes S even more dangerous is her ability to play the victim when confronted. If anyone questions her words about you, she immediately assumes the role of a concerned friend who is being attacked for trying to help. I only want what's best for her, she sighs with tears in her eyes. If telling the truth about her condition makes me a villain, then I don't know what to do anymore. In this way, she turns legitimate questions about her conduct into attacks on her kindness. This systemic manipulation creates an environment around you where you feel constantly judged, misunderstood, and alone. Your natural reactions to this hostility are interpreted as confirmation of the problems that S has planted in people's minds. If you defend yourself, you are seen as defensive. If you walk away, you are seen as problematic. If you try to explain the situation, you are seen as dramatic. The time has come to reveal the most sinister aspect of S's influence in your life, the invisible spiritual warfare she has waged against you through dark energy pacts. What I am about to share may shock you, but it is essential that you understand the true extent of the battle you have been facing in order to completely free yourself. S does not work alone. Consciously or not, she has become a channel for spiritual entities that feed on human energy, especially from luminous people like you. Every time she feels envy for your achievements, every time she secretly wishes for your downfall, every time she feeds destructive thoughts about you, she opens spiritual portals that allow these dark forces to enter your life. Have you noticed how after certain encounters with S, you feel an inexplicable tiredness that sleep cannot cure? How projects that were flowing perfectly suddenly encounter unexpected obstacles? How harmonious relationships begin to experience friction for no apparent reason? This is no coincidence. It is the physical manifestation of energetic attacks directed at you through the connection that S has established. This person has learned, even if unconsciously, rituals of energy vampirism. When she hugs you with hidden intentions, she is making a transfer. She absorbs your vitality, your joy, your creative strength, and deposits in you her frustrations, her fears, her stagnant energies. That is why you feel drained after these contacts, while she leaves visibly more excited, more confident. S's words also function as modern spells. When she constantly repeats phrases like, "You always have bad luck in relationships," or "Your projects never work out," she is not just expressing opinions, she is programming your subconscious to manifest exactly those realities. Each repetition is like a hammer hitting the same nail, driving deeper into your mind limitations that are not yours, but which become yours through the force of constant suggestion. And if this message is touching your heart deeply, consider supporting this channel with a gesture of light. Click on "Thank you very much" This affection helps to keep alive this mission of delivering words that heal and awaken. The most terrible thing is that S has managed to make you believe that these attacks are your faults, deficiencies in your character, or simply bad luck. When your projects fail, she shakes her head with false compassion and whispers, "You need to stop being so anxious. It's getting in the way of your chances." When your relationships end, she hugs you and murmurs, "Maybe you need to work on your self-esteem. It may be pushing people away." In this way, she convinces you that you are responsible for the sabotage that she herself coordinates. But I, Miguel, am here today to expose this spiritual charade. I am here to reveal that you are not unlucky. You are not problematic. You are not destined to fail. You have been the target of an energetic conspiracy, orchestrated by someone who should protect you, but who chose to destroy you because they couldn't stand your natural light. Now, write in the comments, "The light that guides me is stronger than any darkness." This statement seals your courage, your faith, and your spiritual rebirth. S also uses what I call distorted mirrors against you. She observes your most beautiful qualities, your generosity, your empathy, your capacity for forgiveness, and uses them as weapons. She knows you have a hard time saying no, so she always comes up with requests that benefit her. She knows your tendency to take blame, so she holds you responsible for conflicts she herself creates. She senses your need for harmony, so she threatens to create chaos whenever you try to take a stand. So spiritual manipulation is so sophisticated that she has managed to make you doubt your own spiritual perceptions. When your intuition screamed that something was wrong, she convinced you that you were being paranoid. When you felt heavy energies coming from her, she explained that you were projecting your own insecurities. When you noticed her manipulations, she reversed the situation and portrayed herself as the victim of your unfounded suspicions. But today, with my sword of light, I cut all those invisible threads that kept you trapped in this web of confusion. Today, I restore your ability to trust your intuition, to recognize toxic energies, to perceive manipulations before they harm you. Your spiritual sensitivity is not a defect. It is your superpower to identify people and situations that do not deserve your sacred energy. Now I will reveal how S built around you what I call an invisible prison, an energetic structure so subtle that you didn't even notice when it was being erected, but which drastically limited your ability to grow, shine, and reach your true potential. This prison has no physical bars, but it has psychological walls that were carefully constructed through years of mental conditioning. The first wall of this prison is made of constant comparisons. S always found ways to compare you to other people, always in a way that put you at a disadvantage. So-and-so got that job you wanted. She must have something you don't have. Or, such and such is engaged. Aren't you jealous to see everyone getting married except you? These seemingly innocent comparisons instilled in your mind the belief that you were always behind, always lacking something, always being surpassed by others. The second wall was built with criticism disguised as advice. S never attacked you directly. That would have been too obvious. Instead, she offered help that always highlighted your supposed shortcomings. You should wear more discreet clothes. Sometimes you draw too much attention. Or, maybe you should talk less about your plans. It can seem arrogant. Each piece of advice was actually an attempt to diminish you, to erase your natural brilliance, to convince you to take up less space in the world. The third wall was erected through what I call narrative hijacking. S took on the role of official interpreter of your life, explaining to you who you were, what you felt, and why you acted in certain ways. You're only this excited because you haven't realized the problems that are going to arise. Or, you're not really happy, you're just trying to convince yourself of that. Gradually, you lost the right to define your own experiences and emotions. The fourth wall, perhaps the cruelest, was built with sabotage disguised as support. When you were about to take important steps in your life, S would appear with concerns that planted doubts at the most critical moment. When you were going to an important interview, she would comment on how difficult the job market was. When you were getting to know someone special, she would tell stories of relationships that ended badly, always at the perfect timing to shake your confidence at decisive moments. This invisible prison worked so well because it was built with your own insecurities as raw material. S studied your vulnerabilities and used each one as a brick in this construction. She knew exactly which words would touch your wounds, which situations would awaken your fears, which comparisons would make you feel smaller. Write in the comments, "I am protected by invisible forces that work in my favor." This opens the way for angels to act even more powerfully in your life. The result of this imprisonment was devastating for your spiritual and personal growth. You began to censor yourself before S even had to do anything. You began to doubt your ideas before expressing them. You began to minimize your achievements before anyone else could minimize them. You developed the habit of sabotaging yourself to avoid the discomfort of her criticism. But what S didn't count on was my divine intervention. What she didn't foresee was that the day would come when I would descend from the heavens to break down one by one all the walls of this energetic prison. Today, as you listen to my words, every limiting wall is being demolished by the power of spiritual truth. Feel how your mind expands as you recognize these manipulations. Notice how your breathing becomes freer when you understand that the limitations you carried were not yours, but were imposed by someone who feared your potential. Notice how your heart beats stronger when you accept that you are much greater than S wanted you to believe. From now on, you no longer need her approval to shine. You no longer need to tone down your successes so as not to upset her. You no longer need to hide your light to make her feel better about herself. You are free to be who you really are, to achieve everything you deserve, to occupy all the space that rightfully belongs to you. The time has come for definitive liberation, the moment when you not only recognize S's manipulation, but completely free yourself from her toxic influence through a process of spiritual purification that I myself will conduct. What will happen now is not just mental understanding. It is real energetic transformation, a revolution in your vibrational frequency that will make it impossible for S to continue affecting you. First, I want you to understand something fundamental. You don't need to confront S directly. You don't need to expose her manipulations in a dramatic argument. You don't need to prove to her or anyone else what she has done. True spiritual liberation happens on a much deeper and more powerful level than any human confrontation could ever achieve. What I am going to teach you now is the power of conscious, energetic detachment. From this moment on, you will begin to treat S as what she really is, a wounded person who has chosen to hurt others instead of healing her own pain. Not with hatred, not with revenge, but with the compassionate indifference of someone who recognizes a toxic pattern and simply chooses not to participate in it anymore. And if this message is touching your heart in any way, please consider supporting this mission by clicking "Thank you very much." This strengthens this channel of light and allows us to continue spreading these messages with all our love to more people. When S tries to resume her old patterns of manipulation, you will not react with anger or defensiveness. That would still be giving her power over your emotions. Instead, you will respond with a completely new energy, unshakable serenity. Her attempts to create drama will meet only calmness. Her provocations will receive only dignified silence. Her mind games will run up against a mind that no longer plays games. This new version of yourself will be disconcerting to S. She is used to your predictable reactions, your emotional availability, your tendency to explain and justify yourself. When you are simply no longer available for these games, when your energy is invested in things and people that really matter, S will be forced to find another target for her manipulations. Now write in the comments, "My heart is light, and no evil can resist this vibration." This reinforces your inner strength and dissolves any energy that tries to destabilize you. During this process of liberation, it is natural to feel some conflicting emotions. There may be moments of guilt, questions about whether you are being too harsh, memories of times when S seemed to genuinely care about you. These are normal reactions from someone with a generous heart, but don't let them make you backtrack. Remember, a person who truly cares about you does not need to manipulate to get your attention. True love does not drain your energy, but amplifies it. A real friendship celebrates your successes unreservedly, does not look for ways to diminish them. S may have had moments of genuine kindness, but they do not cancel out the consistent pattern of toxicity she has established. Your new life will begin to blossom in ways you never imagined possible. Without the constant energy drain that S represented, you will discover reserves of creativity, joy, and hope that long seemed dormant. Projects that were stagnant will begin to flow again. Relationships that were strained will begin to harmonize. Opportunities that seemed blocked will open up naturally. This transformation is not magic in a fantastical sense. It is the natural result of you reclaiming all the energy that was being wasted in a toxic dynamic. It is like a plant that, removed from the shade, can finally receive all the sunlight it needs to grow lush and green. In the coming days and weeks, watch how S will try to regain access to your energy. She may play the victim, invent crises that need your help, or even feign profound changes in her behavior. Stand firm in your new stance. Be cordial but distant. Be polite but unavailable. Be understanding from afar, but don't get emotionally involved. The final moment of this heavenly revelation has arrived, where I, Saint Michael the Archangel, seal your definitive liberation and open the gates to a new era in your life. What you have experienced so far has been the awakening of consciousness. Now, you will receive the divine decree of your spiritual freedom and the keys to your rebirth. At this very moment, as you listen to my final words, an irreversible transformation is taking place in your aura. All the energetic chains that kept you bound to S's games are being cut by my sword of light. All the emotional implants she installed in your mind are being removed by the purifying fire of truth. All the limitations she convinced you to accept are being dissolved by the expansive force of your true potential. Feel how your breathing becomes deeper and freer. Notice how your shoulders relax, releasing tensions you have long carried without understanding why. Observe how a new lightness settles in your heart, as if an invisible weight has finally been removed. This is the physical sensation of spiritual liberation, your body recognizing that it no longer needs to carry burdens that were never yours. From now on, you will carry within you an enhanced spiritual radar that will immediately identify any person or situation that attempts to replicate S's toxic patterns. You will recognize the signs, the compliment with a hidden sting, the advice that is actually criticism, the presence that drains rather than nourishes, the support that comes with hidden conditions, and most importantly, you will have the inner strength to say no at the first sign, without having to give explanations or justifications. Your new energy will be like a magnet that attracts people and situations aligned with your true essence. Relationships based on genuine reciprocity will begin to appear in your life. Opportunities that honor your talent will present themselves naturally. People who celebrate your light without feeling threatened will cross your path. This is the universe responding to your new vibrational frequency. Write in the comments, "I am invincible when I connect with the light of the heavens." This is not just a mantra, it is a call for your spirit to awaken. I want you to understand that this liberation is not just about getting rid of S. It's about regaining your personal power, your authenticity, your ability to trust your own inner wisdom. For a long time, you allowed her voice to become louder than your own. Now, your intuition will once again be your main compass. Your inner truth will be your ultimate authority. In future relationships, you will no longer tolerate crumbs of affection disguised as great love. You will not accept constant criticism masked as care. You will not allow anyone to define who you are or what you are capable of. You will become selectively sacred, choosing to invest your precious energy only in connections that nurture your growth and honor your essence. And when S realizes that she has completely lost access to your energy, when she notices that her games no longer work, when she realizes that you have become unreachable for her manipulations, she may try one last desperate move. She may show up with dramatic apologies, promises of change, or even attempts to make you feel guilty for abandoning her. Stand firm. Remember that real change takes time and is demonstrated through consistent actions, not pretty words in moments of desperation. Remember that you are not responsible for S's healing. Each person has their own spiritual journey and their own lessons to learn. Now, if you recognize in every word of this message the truth about your own experience, If you feel that finally someone has managed to put into words what you have been living in silence, if you realize that you are not crazy or exaggerating, but have been the victim of a real pattern of manipulation, then I invite you to join a community of awakened souls. Subscribe to this channel, not just as another number, but as someone who has chosen light over shadow, truth over illusion, freedom over emotional imprisonment. Here you will find more messages like this one, revelations that will illuminate other aspects of your spiritual journey, and constant confirmation that you are not walking alone. And I want you to use the comments as a sacred space for testimony and healing. Tell your story, share your experience with S or with similar people in your life. Let your voice join the chorus of other souls who have also awakened. Tell us what this message awakened in you, how it changed your perspective, what insights it brought to your life. Your story may be exactly what someone else needs to hear to find the courage to break free as well. May the light that shone on your life today continue to burn ever brighter, illuminating not only your path, but serving as a beacon for other souls who still walk in the darkness of manipulation. You are free, you are powerful, you are loved by the purest force in the universe. Go forth and be the magnificent woman you were always meant to be.